Welcome to the High Performance Man podcast. I am your host, John Fayocavitz. On this show, I interview successful men who have built impressive careers in businesses, founders, CEOs, and senior leaders, and professionals who have operated at a high level for years. We talk about what actually made them successful. So the goal is simple, to learn directly from men who have done it, so we can apply those insights into our own careers, our own businesses, and lives, and continue raising our own standards of performance. Our show is brought to you and sponsored by the Prime Performance Method. The Prime Performance Method is designed specifically for high-performing men who have achieved success in their careers but feel like their body and energy have taken a hit along the way. We help busy professional men regain strength, reclaim their energy, and feel younger without working long hours, extreme dieting, or disrupting their demanding schedule. So if you are a high-performing man who wants to feel as strong and energized as you are successful, message me, John Fayocavitz, on LinkedIn. On today's show, we have Kent Adams, who is the founder of Adams Franchising LLC, where he invests in small businesses, develops them into franchises, and then scales them nationally. Welcome, Kent.
Thanks, John. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Okay, let's get started. The first question. What is the most important lesson you've learned so far that has helped you become successful in your business?
Well, I think really it's the power of your network. I think pretty much every business that I've started or been involved with or partnered in is all begins with my network. So I'm always trying to be out in the community, networking with people, meeting new people, making connections, and putting deals together through the network.
Okay. Now, how many years have you had this business?
Well, I've been in the franchise industry for 35 years. So I've owned and operated 7 different brands over the years. And most recently, my business partner and I founded a company called Black Optics Tint, which does automotive, residential, commercial window tinting. And we grew that to about 50 locations. And then last year, we actually partnered with United Franchise Group to continue to be able to support our franchisees and grow. So United Franchise Group is the world's largest family-owned franchisor. They've owned 7 different brands, and they've got about 1,800 locations, in about 80 countries. So their main brand, their first brand was Sonorama, and they've added a bunch of other brands over the years. And so last summer they were interested in adding an automotive brand. So we partnered with them at that point. My business partner, Randall, is currently the president of the company. And I'm not as involved, day to day anymore. So I basically, I participate in a weekly planning meeting and that type of thing. But most of my efforts right now are growing through Adams Franchising. Again, we look for brands that are either small franchises already or just brands that are, a good concept. Somebody might have 1 or 2 locations they want to scale nationally. So we can actually invest in that brand, turn it into a franchise, and then help them scale it, nationally. So that's really what I'm, interested in doing at this point, just finding good people to partner with.
So you operate the Adams company by yourself, or is that what your partner also?
No, that's just myself.
Okay. And then you have a partner that branched off into another company.
Yeah, he's the president of Black Optics Tint. So.
Okay. Awesome. Well then, okay. So you've been in the business for 35 years. All right. Now, it was Adams 35 years. Is that 35 years of that?
About 12 years with Adams Franchising.
Okay. So, and you said the power of your network. So you must have built probably a good network before you even branched out into your own. Is that correct?
Yeah, I really did. When I moved to Richmond, I lived just outside of Richmond, Virginia. When I moved here about 20 years ago, at that point I owned a all-state insurance agency, and I kind of got into BNI and networking and meet a lot of folks in the Richmond community. It's a it's a pretty good sized city, but it's still pretty, it's kind of a small town, everybody knows
Right.
everybody. So it's a really good networking community.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, boy, I tell you, I mean, how much have you done any fitness centers?
I haven't franchised any. I've sold a couple in my
You've sold
M&A
a
days.
couple.
Yeah.
Wow. I should have hooked you up when I was there in COVID. I closed my business down in 2020.
Oh, really?
It is because of COVID, but if I had an opportunity to do a franchise, I would have. So,
Yeah. I mean, I've always thought about I might, buy a gym or a fitness franchise at some point. 'Cause I go to the gym, pretty much every day, and my wife does, and we enjoy working out together. And so I thought it would be a good
that's
investment,
awesome.
something I believe in.
Well, that's something. That's great. That is super. All right. My next question, Kent. What do you think hinders a lot of men today from reaching their full potential?
Oh man, that's a great question. There's so many things. It's really, I
You
think the
could say
biggest
more.
thing,
You could say more than one. I mean,
yeah, yeah, the biggest thing, you know, is having a supportive spouse. I mean, honestly, I think that's the biggest thing that has helped me achieve success. I'm on my second marriage. We've been together for 23 years now. Uh, First marriage was a disaster. My wife didn't support me emotionally or
yep,
professionally or anything else, and you just can't grow a business that way for sure. So
worrying
um,
about the things that what they're
yeah,
thinking.
yeah. So you've got me and my wife, and this is my best friend, and we've got a great partnership. And it was tough for her in the beginning because I've always been an entrepreneur, and you know, she's the kind of person who she basically worked the same job for 26 years. She retired about 5 years ago, but she did the same thing for 26 years. And she was thought that's the way everybody should do it. And
Right.
me as an entrepreneur, open a new business every couple of years, and some it's feast or
Right.
famine. Some years we didn't make any money, some years we made a ton of money. So it took her a good 10 years to get used to that. But I mean, that's just the most important thing is have, and if you're not married or what have you, just have a good support system.
Right.
Because it's tough, to be an entrepreneur. You gotta have some sort of support system. You gotta have somebody to complain to and
Yeah.
cry to and everything else.
It's always nice to come home to somebody where you can tell them something of the day and without having any kind of backlash or anything like that.
Right.
It's
Yep.
they're very supportive and it's someone you can bounce things off of, bounce ideas, bounce whatever I mean, but that's a nice thing to have as a supportive spouse.
100%.
And what else? You said there was a couple things. Is there anything else that might hinder the guys?
Yeah. I don't know what hinders. I just know what's been helped me be successful is, obviously having a supportive spouse, but just having that perseverance, just
Yeah,
not quitting. I mean, I've, I don't even know how many businesses I've started. Most of them failed.
right,
So, you fail fast and you go on to the next thing. You just don't quit.
right. And
Something doesn't work, adjust, shut it down, start something else.
yeah,
So just keep
yeah. That
failing forward.
that has been a really one of the when I started my podcast, The High Performing Man. That's been when I've asked these questions, it seems to be that's one of the common themes is not quitting. Okay.
100%.
Yeah. Sometimes the guys they get to a point where you said frustrated and they just throw the towel in. Okay, instead of starting something else or doing something that they love and enjoy. Okay, and go from there. But I think not quitting is one of the big things that as entrepreneurs that we can't do.
Right.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, all right. My next question: for most men on the road to business or professional success, other areas of their life get sacrificed. What's been one of the areas of your life, if you had anything that has suffered, but where you'd like to be successful now too?
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I mean, I a couple of the business I've started have been very time intensive. So obviously you do, lose a little bit of family time or have to, work on a Saturday or Sunday when you don't want to. But, I've been fortunate the last, probably at least the last 6 or 7 years that I've been in a position where I've been able to, kind of control my own schedule and, work from home for the most part. And, I have a routine that I follow every day. I get up in the morning and take the first hour for myself.
You're taking one of my questions right away. I was
Yeah.
going to ask you again, because I'm very curious about how people that get to be successful, they usually have some kind of a routine.
Yeah, and do. And I've always done something, but I started it's fun. I know when I started last June 10th, it was actually the day that my father passed away. I started The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrond. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his book,
No.
but really he took a bunch of different things that work for people. Some people like to meditate, some people like to read, some people do affirmations, but he put them all together. So you basically do 10 minutes of each thing. You do like 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of affirmations, 10 minutes of gratitude journal, 10 minutes of visualization, meditation, exercise, and just, and you can do it in 6 minutes if you want to, or you can do it in 60
You just cut
minutes.
it down.
But just do a little bit of each one and, just really take some time for yourself, get your head right. And, so I've been doing that for almost a year now. And I think that makes all the difference in the world.
And that's a morning routine?
Yeah, I do it first thing in the morning. So I usually get up at 6 and just spend the first hour doing that.
Okay. And you said you worked out, so I don't see your health wasn't sacrificed throughout your career, has it?
No, definitely not. I mean, I've always I've been a guy who likes to work out, and I I walk. My wife and I walk a lot every day.
Right.
We walk anywhere from 5 to 8 miles a day, and then I lift weights 3 days a week. We do a boot camp every Saturday. It's a 90-minute, just awful struggle, but it's it just, man, I just think exercise is so important for your mental health and just not only keeping your body sharp, but your mind. So that's a
Right.
priority for me.
Have you seen things change in the process of the 35 years of things getting sacrificed and not getting in? Have you seen that change from 35 years ago till now?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I think, back when I was younger, I probably didn't put as much focus, on my health, and those types of things. But I think as you get older, you really have to start focusing on that. I'm 58 now, so it's like I got more time behind me than I do in front of me, most likely. So, I want to be around for my I've got 7 kids and 9 grandkids, so I want to be around for a good long time to.
Well, that's exercise in itself.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, keep it up with the young grandkids.
Absolutely is.
I mean, it's one of those things when I'm doing something with my clients or whatever, I say, but their main goals are to be able to get on the ground with their grandkids,
Yep. That's it.
and be able to get back up.
Right. That's the key.
Is be able to get back up. Great. That's awesome, Ken. So if you were trying to think about, and you went through this morning routine, but do you find yourself where you really find yourself at peace? Like, what are you doing when you find yourself, like you said, you mentioned the mental health, which is, I believe also is so important, probably more so to me than the physical. Okay. Because everything starts up here.
Absolutely.
Okay. And if we don't have our mind in the right space, I believe that, your body takes a hit too, because I believe that's what's steering it. Did you feel that same way?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. I mean, stress kills you, man. There's no doubt about it, man. Just, I feel like stress causes all sorts of, physical problems.
Right.
So you just
So do you
gotta.
go anywhere with, I mean, do you do something specifically when you hit that, if there's a stress, or is there any like where you go to get peace?
They're really exercise. I mean, I really,
Okay.
go for a walk, go to the gym, do something. Just get out and get in this. I mean, sunshine and fresh air is some of the best medicine you can get.
Right.
Get outside
Absolutely.
and just do a little walk or something.
Wow. That's awesome. I'm glad you and your wife both are into the health and fitness part of it. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
that's something, I mean, if like, you see in my introduction that a lot of men, they get so wrapped up into their businesses that they just forget about their health.
Right.
Okay. And that's why I've tried to help them regain their energy and stuff like that. So, but you seem very energetic. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'll wake up ready to roll, and you know, I, I that's the big thing, man. Just I want to make sure I have plenty of energy. So just sleep too. I mean, I got to sleep 8 hours and get good sleep, and
Well, that's,
you know,
yeah. I mean,
get good workouts, eat good food.
yeah, the whole thing. I mean, it's getting to the point, like, I mean, as we learn more about how nutrition helps us and how sleep helps us, and we just don't realize it. Back when I was young, I didn't even realize that. Going to college, I maybe slept 3 hours a day.
Right.
Okay. And now you're sleeping, you should sleep 6 to 8 hours minimum, six
Yeah.
6 hours. Okay, because that's the biggest part of when we recover.
That's it.
So that's great. Is my next, even though we talked about being at peace, is there anything that's been stretching you lately? Okay, that's in the business or personal. I mean, is there something that's stretching you?
No, really. I mean, I guess, when we partnered with UFG, and I kind of stepped away from the day to day of Black Optics tent, and started looking for more businesses to, invest in and grow. It's, I'm always looking for the next thing. I get impatient with myself when it's just not there immediately, so one of my biggest things is just trying to step back and remember that, I just need to kind of, have certainty that that everything's working the way it's supposed to, and everything is gonna come, and just be patient with myself. That's one of my biggest issues, I think.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. If you were to give one piece of advice to other men that's on their journey to achieving success, what would that be? And it could be more than one.
Sure. I'd say just make sure that you get your mindset right. You need to have an abundance mindset, have a positive mindset, because really, I believe you become what you think about, what you concentrate on. Kind of
Okay.
what you
Right.
put out into the universe is what you become. So, make sure you're kind of watching your thoughts. If you're thinking negative thoughts, catch yourself and turn it around.
That's awesome. That's like, again, going back to the mental. I mean, you're thinking positive things all times. Maybe not all the time, but
Yeah.
we should have the majority of it. Okay, is
Right.
doing that. So,
Yeah. And if you're thinking positive all the time doesn't mean bad stuff's not going to happen. It just
oh,
means you
and
need to
it's
be able to
it's
be in the right mindset to respond properly, rather than reacting, and just take a minute, respond, and bad stuff's going to
in
happen. Just the way you react to it's 90% of the
in
of
how we like you said, how you react to it and how we do things that when adversity hits.
right.
Okay, where do we? I mean, do we just push it away? Okay, or do we attack the problem itself?
Yeah.
That's just some of the things that I see that a lot of men that may hinder them is they have that I might do it tomorrow type thing instead of
Right.
they got that procrastination type going on, and I think that comes again, and you'd help me if it is from the mindset.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you got an issue, face it head on, and figure out how to get through it or around it or over it. So procrastination is a killer.
Well, that's great. So I'd like to thank you very, very much, Kent. Okay. This has been an awesome, okay. I want to thank you so much for being on with me.
You're welcome. I appreciate it.
No, this is awesome. Again, everybody that I have on here has some kind of different perspective, and that's what I'm hoping my audience gets out of all this is, we're successful or you're successful in what brought you to be that way. And it's helped out. I've had so many people come back and say, yeah, I've watched that podcast and I never thought of that. Okay.
That's great.
So I'm getting a lot of different perspectives and insights, and that's why I started this podcast. But you brought so much to the table, and I know my audience is going to love it. Okay.
Well, I appreciate you having me, John.
Yep. And as a reminder, this is brought to you by the Performance Method, where I help high-performing men rebuild their strength and energy and confidence without sacrificing their careers. Until the next episode, perform strong in all areas of your life.